Hello everybody, Martin here, back with another legacy video, and it's a bit of a legacy special video. It's yet another grinding station video, I guess, tutorial versus miracles. I set up an interesting match against miracles in the league, and I thought I wanted to go back and run through how it played out. So we won the die roll, and we get this hand sort of against the blind opponent. This is pretty awesome. We get to, on the play, make 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 goblins, and with the possibility of a flashing back therapy. That is if the opponent doesn't have force of will. And let's see here, our opponent mulligans to 6, then to 5. They keep their 5, so at this point it's like, at 7 cards there is like a less than 50% chance, like a 40-something% chance of them having force, so it's even less now. So we decide to go for it. And we get to resolve the ritual, the LED, but sadly, with everything out, they have force. Force pitching, supreme verdict. So right now I'm already thinking that this is like probably miracles, or I don't think it's not common to see supreme verdict, but I don't think, like, it has to be either miracles or some kind of stoneblade deck. But yeah, that's obviously, I don't think you're ever not supposed to go for it here, especially with the opponent only getting to 5, but yeah, there you go. So Volcanic Island go. We draw an LED, which is nice. I mean, our plan here is to just as quickly as possible be able to go off again and hope they don't rebuild with force and stuff, but it's not looking good when you get turn 1 blowout like that. Yeah, I guess we need lands, so that's fine. And they have Brainstorm with a fetch land open at the end of my turn, which is a nice place to be. And Ponder, okay, so not Counterbalance. Might still have it though, but that's sort of what I'm worried about here. Top, okay, so definitely Miracles. Ponder is a nice draw, so. And I think what we want here is we want both the Dark Ritual and the Probe, and then like take, say, the Probe now, and then pass the turn, and then draw the Dark Ritual, and then crack Tarn Probe. That's sort of our plan. Hope that the top of our library shows us something good. But the chances of them not finding something relevant here, either a Counterbalance or another Force of Will, is kind of slim with the cantripping and the top. And they have the Counterbalance, so at this point, like, our only real hope is to, like, naturally draw into our Empty the Warrens or Tendrils of Agony and hope to win that way, but it's not looking good. All of our cantrips were locked down. We need to draw lands, basically. Also, we could just scoop here, but we kind of want to see what build this is that runs Supreme Verdict. Maybe some other things differ. We draw land, which we play out. Nearly click through the turn there. And meanwhile, they just get to sit and sculpt. So, but obviously, like, this video is called How to Grind versus Miracles, and the grinding usually doesn't really happen until after sideboard. Right. So I guess I forgot to show you my list, but I'll show you the list after this game 1. This is the list, though, I can just briefly tell you, with Double Pass and Flames, Empty the Warrens in the main, Ad Nauseam in the sideboard, so what I'm most used to playing. So meanwhile, we just pass along. We get a top, but obviously it's never resolving. I've pretty much written off this game now. I just want to make them kill me, make them spend the time on the clock, and see what they're playing, like if it's Mentor or Jace or Entreat or something else. That's their win con. Clique, sure. I don't concede here because they already know what we're playing, and there's no real reason for that. And they, I think, let us keep. Yeah, because why not? Why? What do they have to worry about? Enlightened Tutor. Now, there's a card you don't see in Miracles that often. And what did they reveal? Rest in Peace. Okay, so this is likely the Rest in Peace Helm of Obedience combo. Or I guess it could be like a Energy Field. That probably runs Helm of Obedience too as the win con. Yeah, so I mean, that's not that common. Doesn't really change things for us right here. We just ship it back. So they get in for the beatdowns. Like our only real hope still is just to draw one of our 2 storm cards, and that's not at all guaranteed to be enough. But that's sort of what we could hope for. But yeah, all right. So they had the helm. So for those unfamiliar, Helm of Obedience combos with Rest in Peace to mill your entire deck. How this works is that you tap 1 mana or more into the helm. You're supposed to just put X cards into your opponent's graveyard from their library. But since the cards never go into the library, into the graveyard, because of Rest in Peace, they just get exiled instead. The milling effect just continues indefinitely, meaning we'll lose on our draw step. So, all right, we lose. We can see, yeah, this is the list. Got a Singleton Top in the main. Got the Grim Tutor. Got 1 Preordain. 15 lands. No Reign of Filth, but 4 Cabal Rituals. And this is the sideboard. So what I did here is I bring in these 6 cards plus the 2 Tendrils. So 8 cards come in. Versus Miracles, I remove 1 Past in Flames. Sometimes I swear I feel like removing both. That might be the next step, because when we cut down on tutors, it just becomes like a lot less likely that it will ever go off that way, but it's still probably correct to keep in 1. But yeah, we cut a Past in Flames. I cut 3 Infernal Tutors, leaving 1 Infernal Tutor and 1 Grim Tutor. So that's 4 cards. I cut 2 Lineside Diamonds, so having cut 6. And then I cut a Preordain, and I think I cut a Cabal Ritual. But no, actually, I think I cut a Discard Spell. All right. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So we choose to be on the draw here, as per the grinding station strategy. We kind of want the extra card more than we want it to be fast. And we get a very keepable hand here. We have, like, one thing that is, I think, almost more important than anything else is to have, I would say, at least 2 lands in your opening hand. One way to lose with the grinding station plan, I found, is to get mana choked. Because what we want to be able to just let them do their stuff for a couple of turns while we just drop, like, go land, go, maybe play cantrips. But we don't want to get to a point where we have to play a cantrip in order to develop our mana base further, because if then they have like a spell, not spell pierce, we probably don't have that, but like a red blast, they're going to snap off the red blast to take our ponder, and we might just end up getting stuck under a counterbalance, never finding another land. So we have 2 lands. We have an answer for counterbalance, and we have a tendrils plus some free spells to pair with that tendril. So that's pretty nice. We keep this. And our opponent keeps 7 this time, and they just go land go. So we draw a second tendril, so that's okay. I think I'd rather have something else, sort of just. I think 1 tendrils is usually enough. 2 tendrils is when we want to win through a Flusterstorm or something, but it's not bad. So we play a land, and I think we want to ponder here, even though it risks us running into a red blast. But barring them having that, I don't think they can counter this, and we need to be finding like more lands. And we find a land. That's actually almost the most important card in this ponder. So we want all of this. Well, we want the land at least. So let's say we want the land and probably... Okay, yeah, so we put back land LED so that we will draw the LED, leaving the empty the warrens on top, and we can decide sort of on our next turn if we actually want that. Okay, so they go Caracas. Okay, so already, well, not already, we already know that this is not a traditional sort of a miracles deck with, since they have the Helm and Rest in Peace combo, but yeah, Caracas probably informs us that they are running like probably as many as 3 Vendilion Cliques, maybe even Venser, I'm not sure. But they play a Meddling Mage, and I usually don't expect Miracles to run Hate Bears and not Meddling Mage. So they name Infernal Tutor, and there is only one Infernal Tutor in our library now, so that's fine. And we draw the LED, and then we play out the Tarn. And so they just go to attack. So now we have an Empty the Warrens on top of our deck, and we have to decide if we want to keep it there. Okay, but they play a second Meddling Mage, so now we have to decide, do we think that they're going to name Abrupt Decay, which would be a very likely name, and if we do that, do we then care enough about it to use our Abrupt Decay in hand to kill this Meddling Mage on Infernal Tutor? So the issue is, like, Meddling Mage on Infernal Tutor doesn't really matter in our post-sideboard constellation with only one Infernal Tutor, so while it sucks to be stuck with a card we can't cast, it's probably better to just save it for Brainstorm. And also, like, they're not guaranteed to name Abrupt Decay here. They could name, like, Tendrils or, like, Past in Flames or something. And in which case, the Abrupt Decay is still sweet. So we don't use it. But they do name Abrupt Decay. So, okay, now we are, like, getting a little bit concerned here. We don't have, yeah, we don't have enough in our hand right now to really power through. I think we need to draw the Empty the Warrens, though. So, like, next turn, if we wanted to, we could probe, pedal, Lion's Eye Diamond, then Empty the Warrens, making 8 goblins, and that's not the worst. Okay, so let's probe. We don't need to fetch in advance because we don't know the next card. And they show us this hand, so it's... Once they hit another blue land, they will be able to cast Counterbalance and or Clique. They have double force, so it's a pretty strong hand, but if we make 8 goblins here, say, we get to beat in for 6, losing 2, dropping them to 13, beat in for 4, dropping them to 9, then for 2, dropping them to 7. So, I mean, 8 goblins is not enough, but the thing is that with Tendrils in hand, there is a very real chance that we can get to a point where we can just, like, get in for some mini Tendrils and kill them that way. So I'm not hating the 8 goblins plan here, but we'll also get to see what we draw from the probe. Okay, we just draw land. It's not too bad. So here there's no point in fetching out the tropical. I guess, like, if we were to draw the one-off Crozen Grip, we could grip the Counterbalance if they play it. But yeah, we're just going to go for it here. Make the 8 goblins. See if they choose to force. I actually probably don't want them to force anything here. They don't. Okay, so we get the 8 goblins. And they draw and what, just pass? Yeah. So they missed their land drop for the second time turn in a row. That's good. Well, you can see here, Petal is already excellent with the Tendril, so let's just get to it. There's still ways to go before we're able to win this, and they can draw like Flusterstorm or something to kind of mess us up. Though the LED can at least pay for 3 copies of tendrils. So okay, so they find their land, fetching, and at this point, I find that every life point every point of damage matters here. So fetching is great, pitching like force pitching card, taking 1 damage, great. Obviously depends on what they force, but you get my drift. Okay, so now there's a counterbalance. So their hand is Cleek, Cleek, Force, Force, and a card we don't know. And we get a Ponder. So the cool thing here is that we can, if we can get Pedal to resolve through the counterbalance, then we can even like Ponder without, and that there can be a 1 on top and it won't matter because it'll counter Storm. We can Tendrils for 6. But it's not quite enough yet, so I decided to do it though. I guess like what would be amazing here is if they force this and don't have a 2 on top. Okay, did they reveal anything? Yeah, okay. That's a bummer though. They reveal a 0, which means we can't do it now. So this is actually like pretty bad for us. We've just wasted a spell. I don't think I should have done that. Because we can't cast the Pedal now, and we need the 4. Well, we can cast it, but we need the 4th mana. So unless Ponder finds us a land, unless this was the turn we played our Delta, I don't think it was, but I could be forgetting. Well, there's the Infernal Tutor we can't cast. We can take the Dark Ritual and cast it and hope that it doesn't get forced, but I think there's a chance they would force that. Okay. Well, I mean, if we get them to force, it's a life point. So yeah, let's play out this. We take the top. See if they decide to force, and they do. Okay, so the next card we draw is a Dark Ritual. They exile the Cleek, so their hand is Cleek, Force, and a card we don't know. And they're going to draw a Misty Rainforest. So So let's just get in there for as much as we can. They block 1 each. We drop down to 7. So they play their Misty. They fetch down to 6. So now they are like in range. We have a Dark Ritual coming off the top of our library. So unless they were able to counter both Petal and Dark Ritual, we'll be able to make Tendrils for like 6 damage. And they Jace here. Okay, that seems... Well, I don't know. I mean, they have the Force and the Cleek. I think maybe I like Cleeking here instead, keeping Cleek Caracas open. And they brainstormed with the Jace, I think. I hope for them they did. Did they forget? Draws 3 cards with Jace the Mind Sculptor. Never mind. Alright, so I think this is the turn we go for it. So let's just start by attacking. They'll drop down to 4. And I think what we do then is we lead off with the Petal. They brainstorm, so I can't think that they've left a 0 on top. It just seems so likely they would leave a 1 or a 2 to hedge against, and probably a 1 because they have Infernal to recover with the Meddling Mage. So they choose not to reveal to the counterbalance with the Petal, and Petal sticks. So I think that means we win. So we fetch out here and we cast a Dark Ritual, which gets countered by, what was it? Yeah, they reveal Brainstorm, so that's what they hit on top. Storm, as you can see, is 2. And here we go. And we win. So them having Meddling Mages, I mean, if they keep naming Infernal Tutor, that's not too bad. However, if they like them naming abrupt decay is kind of bad because we usually like if they had a top here, we would have likely had our pedal countered as well. So, all right, let's go back for game number 3. As you can see, I have also brought in Massacre since I saw they showed me like multiple meddling mages. So I brought in 2 Massacres. I kicked out a Cabal Ritual and another discard spell, I think, or a Pondera. Yeah, I think a Pondera. I went down to 3 Ponder. So I'm probably at like 4 or 5 discard spells, 3 Ponder. And again, like they choose to be on the play, so that's good for us. I think this is a fine hand. We're a little bit reliant on the Brainstorm not getting countered, but they haven't showed us a blast effect yet. Okay, we draw Tendrils. Beautiful. And just pass. If they slam Counterbalance here, it's not super great because it kind of, yeah, I don't know. It makes us have to decide if we want to just fire off the Brainstorm now or wait. But it's a Meddling Mage, so sure. And what do you name? Infernal Tutor again. Okay, again, just largely a miss against us. More free spells, so this is looking good. The question is, do we brainstorm now or do we wait? Okay, we decide to brainstorm now while they're tapped out. More free spells. This is looking really good. So what do we put back here? We probably just don't want to shuffle here with the brainstorm, to be honest. So let's put back 1 petal and the land, and just pass and draw our land next turn. And then we can probe into the petal if we want to. Ideally, I'd like them to take 1 more damage and drop to 18. There's a fetch land, so one can hope. Okay, so do we go for it here or do we wait? So we can do like probe into the petal, play the petal, that's 2 spells. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we would only be able to deal them 16. That is, unless they were to fire off some sort of spell. And like if we can deal them 16. If they fetch, then they're at 18. And if they cast a spell, then that's enough. But I'm not really sure if we're supposed to go for it here. So let's just pass. All right, getting in there. Top, sure. I think we just want to draw the petal. Okay, no. Thinking we can do better. We draw a petal anyways, great. Alright, well, here we're going to start off with the Thoughtseize. We're going to go for it now. I think there's a fair chance we can get them to cast a spell and or crack the Misty and or us drawing another useful spell off the Gitaxian Probe. So what do? They pierce it. Okay. And we don't pay for it here. So we probe them. Alright, so probe shows us that they're sitting on a counterbalance, a counterspell, and a spell pierce. So they've now switched off counterspell. That's no longer a card. They also got engineered explosives, so we can't really profitably go for Empty the Warrens at the moment, but that's not going to be a thing here. So I think the only thing that could really mess us up right now would be like if they had a Flusterstorm, or if they knew that a Flusterstorm was on top, but I don't think they know the top card. So what do we want to do here? This is Storm 3. So we can go Petalist 4, Dark Ritual 5, Dark Ritual 6, Petal 7, Massacre 8, Tendrils 9. They're at 19. So if they fetch, then that's good. That means we can win that way. So I guess what we kind of want is for them to cast their Pierce. But I guess we also just want to wait and see what we draw off the probe, I guess. But we draw land. Okay, so we want them to... What we don't want them to do is not do anything. If they don't do anything, we can only deal them 18 points of damage, and they're at 19. That might be enough, but like we might be able to draw into like a Tendrils later on, but we might not. So what we want for them to do is to deal themselves 1 point of damage, either by just fetching to look with top or fetching and casting Spell Pierce, which would make everything just redundant because then they would have added to the storm. So how do we get them to do that? I think we could probably just bank on them using their fetch land eventually during this whole chain of spells, but if they don't, like, I guess the safest bet is to try to get them to use their Spell Pierce, which is the only live card in their hand. So how do we do that? Well, if we cast Massacre now, then they see we have 2 mana open, and they are not that likely to use the Pierce. If we wait on playing out our land and then fetch a black source and cast Dark Ritual, then they are quite likely to pierce that, and we don't need 2 Dark Rituals. We just need 4 mana, which we'll have in any case. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So try and get them to think that we are really needing this 1 Dark Ritual to resolve because it's the only black source we have. Yep, there they go. So that was the game for them. It doesn't matter if they have a force on top that they can blindly draw into. I guess it could matter if they chose to draw and like try and force this Dark Ritual. That's the only spell they are not allowed to force of will. But they don't. So, and why would they? I don't think a lot of people would. So we cast the Massacre just for Storm. The Meddling Mage doesn't matter, of course. Play out everything, and Bob's your uncle. So that's pretty sweet. Always awesome when stuff like this pans out. Obviously, I don't think they like. The Meddling Mage was not that decisive, which is to say not really decisive at all because of Infernal Tutor coming out. I also think like they didn't have a hard counter. I suppose like they could have they pierced our Thoughtseize this turn. And if they hadn't, we would have taken Counterspell probably, and they would have had double pierce, so it would have been the same. But I suppose there's a world where you don't, and then you force me to choose between Pierce and Counterspell. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably not that realistic. Well, anyways, thanks a lot for watching. I hope that it was fun. I mean, these matches never they're not like lopsidedly good for Storm at all. Like I would say that they're probably still the Miracles players' matches to lose, but I just really love playing these, and I mean I lose a bunch of these as well, and I mean you'll see them in the videos if they happen to occur in a league that I'm recording. I probably haven't really wanted to go back and make like a special video of me throwing a match away unless like one of the games was really interesting, because I wanted to show how this works when it works, like how you should approach, at least how I approach these. I'm not saying that that's the only correct way, but you get my drift. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will be back with some more videos. Bye bye.